Hello guys, Trinson here. Today I'll be reading some r/entitled parents. Because who doesn't want to lose some faith in humanity? Ahem. Enjoy. Classmates' parents refused to give me any food because I had apparently sinned. I was probably 5, and I wasn't very proficient with English since I had just immigrated from China and knew very little about the language when this happened. A schoolmate's parents invited me over to have dinner while my parents were out. There are a couple of things you should know from back then. 1. This was a very religious family, while my parents were atheists at the time. 2. The kid and I did not like each other. We sat down to dinner, and as soon as everyone was seated, I took a bite like we did at home. That was when the mother reached across the table and yanked the plate away from me. "In this house," she said, glaring at me, "we pray before we eat. We are not heathens." I looked at my classmate to see what to do. I put my hands together like he did. "Not like that," she screeched. Apparently, I needed to fold my hands properly. I did as I was told. The dad then proceeded to give what had to be the longest prayer ever. It probably wasn't long at all, but I was 5, hungry, didn't really understand what was happening, and had never heard of a prayer before. After he finished, the mom looked at me and said, "For stealing from God, you will wait until after we finish before you eat." She then lectured me on how awful I was and how I was going to hell for not praying properly or knowing about prayer. Reminder, I was 5 years old. My classmate said he wanted seconds when he was done with his plates. She handed him my plate. I didn't get dinner. I started crying because, you know, hungry 5-year-old. She was screaming at me to stop crying. I was ruining dinner for everyone. This was when my mother rang the doorbell. I jumped up and ran to her in tears. Suddenly, the family was all smiles and politeness. She told my mom I was picky so I wouldn't eat my food, so I was probably hungry. We got out to the car and my mother asked what really happened. I was not a picky eater. I will eat anything, still will. I told her everything. My mother stormed out of the car, pounded on the door, and gave the woman a piece of her mind. To this day, I wonder what section of Christianity they claim to be. Because even though I'm not Christian, I've known many for years, and I'm pretty sure God never said to treat someone else's kid like shit before. Entitled mom gets roasted by an autistic child. I have another story from my volunteering to share with you guys. In case anyone hasn't read my first post for my volunteering, we are an organization dedicated to spend time with mentally disabled children. You can read more about it in my first post here. Let's get to the cast for this story. Me, just your everyday Reddit guy. HLG, head leader girl. AS, autistic kid I am paired up with. EM, entitled Muppet. ES, entitled shithead. So last Saturday, instead of spending time indoors, the leaders, me included, decided to take everyone to the beach. The beach was about a 5-minute drive away from our building, and everyone loved going to the beach whenever the weather was nice. The day was going great. Younger kids love lifting up the rocks to go crab hunting, while older kids just appreciate walking around the beach. At one point, Entitled Mom and Entitled Shithead came to the beach. And Entitled Mom didn't like the fact that children with mental disabilities were there first. She started yelling at us volunteers and leaders, demanding we clear out of the way since the kids were causing public disturbance. This is a public beach, and there were plenty of people there before us and no one had a problem with us. Head leader girl, this is a free space for everyone, and no one has brought this up yet. Since it's just you who seems to have a problem, perhaps you could go to another part of the beach or go to a different one? This seemed to shut her up, and she took her kid away from us. We spent another 30 minutes at the beach, until it was time for us to go back in, time for the parents to come pick up their kids. One of the leaders had brought ice cream for everyone, and when everyone was enjoying it, Entitled Shithead came out of nowhere and snatched unopened ice cream from autistic kid's hands. Me? "Hi, can you give that back? Autistic kid wanted that." Entitled Shithead? "No, mommy said I can do whatever I want and I want this ice cream." Me? "Well, we don't have enough to give out." Lie, didn't want to deal with Entitled Shithead. "And that belongs to autistic kid." Entitled Shithead? "I don't care, this is my ice cream now." Just then, Entitled Mom calls for Entitled Shithead from the beach entrance to go home. While Entitled Shithead is distracted, I snatch that ice cream from Entitled Shithead's hand. Entitled Shithead runs up to Entitled Mom, and I ask Autistic Kid to start eating the ice cream. The two of them comes back, with Entitled Mom looking like she wants to start a battle. Entitled Mom: "You took my angel's ice cream." Me? "He took Autistic Kid's ice cream without asking, and we don't have enough to give out." Entitled Mom: "So what? Entitled Shithead deserved the ice cream more than these fucks." Yep, she dropped the F-bomb in front of these kids, volunteers, and other people at the beach who were close to us. Head leader girl: "Ma'am, please don't use that sort of language in front of the children. You are not being a good role model. You are encouraging your son to steal. That's not a good lesson." Entitled Mom. These children should not be allowed to be in public. Now give my son my ice cream or I will call the police. Me? Yes, they might be special, but at least they understand stealing is not okay. Entitled Mom was about to yell more profanities when Autistic Kid started to laugh hysterically. Entitled Mom. What are you laughing at, you fuck? Autistic Kid. Laughing. Will you please be quiet? You are an adult and shouldn't act like little kids. Everyone, including the volunteers and the crowd that has been gathered around, burst into laughter. Entitled Mom went red from embarrassment. And when she was about to get physical with Autistic Kid, an off-duty cop officer came from the crowd and threatened to arrest her for harassment and attempted assault. And that made her storm out of the beach. I love being with Autistic Kid because he is honest with everyone and everything. But he has earned my forever respect for roasting her. I mean, she really deserved it. You should be honored that I'm plagiarizing you. Hello all, thought I'll share good stuff that I heard. Now let's get some stuff straight. I was not a part of this, my teacher was. This happened to my teacher ages ago in her youth years, but boy, this was something. So I go to an art college, don't batter me, I have this. Well, teacher who is beyond bonkers. However, her skill as a printing teacher is impressive. Now let me clarify that I do course in mixed media, meaning I do all sorts, whether it be photography, painting, drawing, etc. Anyway, it's near the end of the year, and this is how things go. Our cast first off, EB, entitled Bitch, T, Teacher. So just to restate, I wasn't alive when this happened. This happened to my teacher. Anywho, we went to the museum and apparently we were talking about plagiarizing artists. And teacher gleamed and began to tell her tale of entitled bitch. Back in the day of teacher, she worked as a teacher at NCAD, National College of Art and Design, Ireland. She was teaching her class about printing, and apparently after one of the classes, a girl, her age, came up to talk to her. Entitled bitch. Hey teacher, I really love this piece. Teacher. Thank you, entitled bitch. I would love to buy it off you. I would love to use it in our production as backdrop. Teacher. Well, as long as you get credit. Entitled bitch. Of course you'll get credit. You'll be in the special things. Teacher. Special things? But the work is mine. Entitled bitch. Yes, and I've bought it, so it'll be mine to have as a backdrop. At this point, teacher wasn't having this fuckery, so she told her no. Teacher. No, entitled bitch, it's my work. Unless they get in touch with me, I'm not letting you use my work. Entitled bitch. Ugh. You should be honored that your piece is even being used. Not many understand artists get work with big productions. Yes, this bitch said this to teacher. Teacher, still annoyed but held her cool. Entitled bitch. Leave, I'm not selling it. Entitled bitch. It's not like you're gonna get this opportunity again anyway, so it's whatever. Eventually, teacher did sell the piece to someone who actually respected her art and that student. Entitled bitch. Never bothered her, but still. The fact that this woman came up to my teacher when she was younger to legit take her art and own it was baffling. Especially since she was in a huge art college, by name, let alone a student. Anyway, from what we heard, the student was known for taking photos of people's work and drawing them out, and claiming them as her own. She full-on copied the style, color, and everything. I hope she gets caught. I really do hate art thieves. Your hair is too short. You should have to wear a wig so you don't offend people. This time, I have a story that has nothing to do with my family. Just me and a random stranger. EM, entitled mom. K, kid, who is not entitled. This was all the parent. Me, guy with messed up haircut. After buying a set of hair clippers, I began the tradition of giving myself free haircuts. And as long as I took care of the clippers, I could stretch a $60 set for a few years. Pretty good for saving money on haircuts. I'm a white guy who has to wear a hard hat for work, so keeping it short just works for me. Usually I cut it in the number 3 setting, or number 4 if it's winter, and I want to keep some installation in my head. Usually the next morning, I could notice some unevenness that I missed, and I will touch it up so it's even all over. I picked up the clippers, and I totally forgot to put the guard back on, and took out a huge chunk right on the front of my head. Well, nothing for it. I had to cut it right down to the skin and figured, it's just hair, it will grow back. And I did a quick down to the scalp cut. If anything, I brought myself another couple weeks before the next haircut because of it. I did, however, now look like a stereotypical skinhead, especially since I was growing my beard at the time. I think nothing of it and go about my business. While at the grocery store, I was getting looks from this mother who seemed to be keeping pace with me in the store. I didn't really think she was following me because most people go in the order of the aisles in the store anyway, but halfway through the store she approached me. Don't you think it's offensive to cut your hair like that? By this point, I had a co-worker who already made a neo-Nazi joke at work, and I knew what she meant about my hair. I laughed it off and said, yeah, I messed up cutting my hair, so I just had to cut it all off. Should be fine in a week or two. That should be the end of the conversation. I wish it had been. You know, you make people uncomfortable by shaving your head, right? With racial tension how they are, you should be ashamed to walk around like that. I'm sorry if my haircut offends you, ma'am, but what the fuck? You should wear wigs so you don't offend people. It's not like I had a swastika on my forehead. I just don't have any hair. The only people who are okay to have shaved head are cancer patients. And you still have your eyebrows, so I know you're not one of those. The inflection she gave to those made me realize that she was one of those entitled ladies. Meanwhile, her kid is tugging on her sleeve to make her go away. Well, I'm sorry, ma'am, but in a couple of weeks, I'll have my hair back. I'm sorry until then. The mother then scooped up her kid, unsatisfied. I continued on my way, and by the time I got to the dairy section, a manager came up to me and told me I had been making racist remarks and made some kid uncomfortable. Huh? I wonder where this story could have come from. I go to the front, and she's trying to get me kicked out of the store. I repeat my story to the manager, who had seen me in the store several times a week for the past few years, and he turned to the lady and explained that he had seen me with a buzz haircut a few years, and judging a white guy with a bald head to be a neo-Nazi was kind of racist of her. Her kid giggled, which instantly made me not refer to this kid as entitled kid for this story. She left in a huff, and one other time I saw her, I had a couple months growth of hair, and about ready for another haircut. I wish I had it just before coming in, just to offend her all over again. Alright guys, that would be all from me for today. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't. I'll be back tomorrow with more Reddit reads. See ya!